Kami dari family Datuk Haji Sudin Kamari mengucapkan
Selamat Raya.
Grisaiaの迷宮
Sup? What's up? Johnny Bang 45 here. Welcome back to the Labyrinth of Grisaia. Yeah, we play more. Why we play more? I don't know. Of course, we're going to end the story
続きからよ
as soon as possible, I think. It's already 14. I wonder how much left. Until 20? Or 16? I don't know. Let's just do this. Got it. Just let me concentrate for a while.
射撃規制解除は5分後だ。5分後。
Oh. Slowly, deliberately I push the air inside my lung. They gave me the two of those special bullets. I lowered them into the chamber one at a time, carefully not to damage their coated tips. The gun felt a little different from my usual rifle. Fortunately, it wasn't my first time holding Chefta. Many had let me borrow him 3 times before. It wasn't a problem. Unlike his owner, he was a straightforward guy without any odd quirks. Don't wonder if you're going to hit the target. Don't think about the possibility of failure. No matter how carefully you aim, you end up missing every single time if you do. There's only one question worth asking yourself at times like this. Am I actually calm right now? In the Navy, the traditional trick is to check the time. Glance down at your watch, check your current hour, minute and second. If you can tell what time it is, that's proof you're calm. It is something our instructors taught us. You might think that sounds awfully simple. But when you're on an actual battlefield with bullets flying back and forth, it really can be surprisingly challenging to read the time. With the analog watch, you won't be able to tell the difference between the hour hand and the minute hand. And if it's a digital model, you won't be able to recognize the segment, the number on the screen for what they represent. When your head's too full of other thoughts, even the simplest task becomes impossible. I glanced down at my wrist and checked my watch's display. The time was 14:32:40. The whole fire order was probably going to be lifted in less than 3 minutes. Still, I could read the time just fine. It's going to be alright. Ho-ha. I closed my eyes and took another deep breath. And then, holding my fingers to the trigger to remind myself what it feels like, I began to focus on the task at hand. Cautiously, steadily the lines on my breathing, I peered through my scope. The only thing visible was pure white fog, flowing past like split water milk, trickling across the table. All I needed was a glimpse. A fraction of a second would be enough. I wouldn't forget what I saw. I do record it in my mind and burn that image into my eyes. There it was. No problem, it was only a glimpse, but I captured it perfectly. This wasn't any different from a fire at night. Using a burst of light to spot the enemy, I just had to approach it the same way. Comments aside, they are visible and you'll start seeing the colors. It's pure visual light. The more you concentrate, the clearer the image becomes. It was fine, I could see him. More importantly, when were they going to let me shoot? Sooner or later, the image of when they were going to let me shoot. Sooner or later, this missile was going to dissolve.
射撃規制解除。繰り返す。射撃規制解除。貴様のタイミングでいつでもやれ。ブーメラン。
About time. Fire for our country. Anyway, the image I found in my mind, I pulled the trigger. A fire beam smacked into the case, detonated the primer. Repelling forwards by slowly the gunpowder, the bullet burst out of the rifle's barrel, spinning rapidly as it went. I couldn't follow with my eyes, of course. But even so, by the time my metallic colored image faded back to monochrome, the shy fire reached its target. Bang! Ha 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 ha! Holy shit!
狙撃兵による着弾を確認。着弾を確認。A 班、B 班、C 班、各班突入を開始。突入を開始せよ。
Crap! I didn't hit the hostage, did I?
よくやったブーメラン。今そちらに迎えを回す。
Tell them to bring a buff back when you're up. I think I'm gonna hold it.
くだらん冗談をほざいてる余裕があるなら大丈夫だ。戻ってこい、ブーメラン。
They say the bullets you fire on the battlefield will come flying right back to you. So but for the moment, I'm still alive. Guess I'm lucky that way. In the chaotic minutes that follow, the assault by our suppression team ended up getting badly out of sync with the airport police. As the hostage sat on the ground in delays, one of the surviving terrorists managed to grab her. Then make a run for a high-speed boat more at the nearby pier.
そこでこの俺様の登場ってわけよ。人質を抱えたままもやい綱を解こうとしている犯人に向かって渾身のタックル。 ダーンうわーってな。
You probably shouldn't have knocked the hostage into the sea with him.
だっておめえ銃とか使って人質に当たったらシャレになんねえだろ。どうせ相手は丸腰だしな、タックルすんのが一番早いだろうが。どうよこの俺の起点、お前にも見せてやりたかったぜ、俺の勇姿。
Well, I saw the whole thing, but by the time I ran over to her, the terrorists who tried to escape was already in custody, and the middle squad they were falling to the sea was splashing in the water. Oh, that is Chizuru-chan. I just didn't realize it was her.
ショーティ見ろよ、面白いぜ。つかこの中学生さっきから何を叫んでんだ。
Sounds like she can't swim.
何？どうしてそれを早く言わねえんだよ。
I think she's been screaming for a while, actually.
ああ、だって俺日本語わかんねえもんよ。
Come on, stop poking her with the oars. Sure you don't want to help. We went through a lot to trouble saving the kid, but at this rate she's gonna drown.
そらマジいな。とりあえずなんか日本語で声かけてやれよ、ショーティ。
Hey, you have any last words? This might be bad, Danny. If they decide that was a child abuse, you could get caught mentally, Allah.
なに、結局は俺が助けてやったんだから問題ねえだろ。
I really doubt it works that way.
冗談じゃありませんよ。
Whoops, the young miss does indeed appear to be a bit upset. What do we do, Danny? Oh, that is Chizuru. Chizuru. She looks awfully different with her hair like that.
助けていただいたことには深く感謝をします。ですが、もう少しマシな方法もあったのではないでしょうかと、私はここに異議を申し立てるものです。返り血を浴びたり、海に突き落とされたり、助けを求めても指さしてゲラゲラ笑ってたり、必死に桟橋に近づこうとすればボートのオールで頭を小づかれたり、散々ですよ。訴えてやります。
おいショーティ、さっきからこのお嬢ちゃんは何を怒ってるんだ。
Don't know, sounds like she didn't appreciate the roughness of our rescue.
生き残っておいて文句を言うとは平和で贅沢な話だな。まあそうカッカするなよお嬢ちゃん。ガム食うか。日本人はガム好きだろ。ん？
Come on, Danny. Japanese middle schoolers don't swarm GIs for candies these days. It's not 1964, 1946 anymore.
だから私中学生じゃないです。
Apparently, Chizuru took exception to my foot 6, 3 comrades patting her on the head and offering her sugarless chewing gum. She responded by pulling a wallet from her pocket and showing us a driver license within it. Hey, Danny, take a look at this.
ん？なんだそれ。
A Japanese driver license. This lady was born in the Showa era.
昭和？ってなんだ。
Sorry, it's a Japanese thing. Means before 1989, basically.
は？つことは何か？このお嬢ちゃんは24歳なのか？
Yeah, she would be.
おい冗談なんだろ。勘弁してくれよショーティ。この子に比べりゃ今年小学校に上がったエディの姪っ子の方がまだ大人びて見えるぞ。日本人ってのは本当に幼く見えるんだな。
Well, I think this one's kind of a special case, actually.
だからこれって言いながら頭をポンポンしないでください。私は先生なんですよ。学園長なんですよ。もう許しませんよ。
面白い。俺の実家の近所にこんな風にキャンキャン吠える犬飼ってるばあさんがいるぜ。
Anyway, given the way we met, I always had a hard time talking respectfully to Chizuru. It would be pain to change that now. Try to change that now, but so I'm still not as polite as I should be.
そんな目にあっておきながら、千鶴さんもよくあなたみたいな男を自分の学園に入学させようと思ったわよね。
Well, she had a pride as a grown-up, I guess. Say she wanted to repay us for saving her life. The woman's got some clout in the academic circle, so she managed to help Danny's sister get into a Japanese university as a foreign student. But there wasn't really anything I wanted, so I tried to decline. She was damn stubborn about it though, told me to say anything at all. At the time, I never really got to experience an ordinary school life. So just on a whim, I told her I'd like to try being a normal student at a normal school. And that's how I end up where I am today.
それでも、朝子が生きていれば、あなたも美浜に行こうだなんて思わなかったんじゃない？
Well, probably not. After completing my training and examinations at Narashino, I received the stamp of approval to graduate from training to agent, officially inheriting Asako's ID number. In no time at all, my workload increased dramatically. I imagine it has something to do with that 2,000-meter shot I landed in Far Corner just after returning from academic and obtaining auxiliary status. But as a full-fledged agent, I found myself in demand both domestically and abroad. It might be an exaggeration to say I was doing the work of 10 men, but my employer definitely kept me hopping from one job to the next. And they generally deploy me to support teams in sole need of assistance. I suppose it's only natural, but the teams in question tend to greet me with the words like "thank you for coming" or "we expected a lot from you." Until this point, I hadn't experienced much in the way of trust from strangers. So this enthusiastic welcomes weighed pretty damn heavily on my shoulders, and I opted for push myself harder than necessary to avoid letting them down. Taking Asako's place, I traveled all around the world. People want to be loved all around the world. People. 9029 consistently producing results 50% beyond the expectation of my clients in any given situation. After a while, I began to realize that trying any harder wasn't necessary, since overly positive evaluations only made my life more difficult in the long run. And around the same time, I started gaining some actual confidence in myself and my ability to succeed in this line of work. One day, I even found myself mounting off a bit in front of my master. You know, I think I might be a match for you by now, Asako. To me, Kosaka Asako wasn't just a master to follow, she was a motherly warfare or devotion and father who I wanted to surpass. Every time I pull off a difficulty shots in the field, I just believe shout, "How do you like that?" in my mind, and those words were always directed at Asako. Suddenly, I called out to her in the celebration, "Just watch me, see how much your students grown." Of course, I also tried to act totally nonchalant around my teammates as if none of this was any big challenge for Kusakabe Asako apprentice. At the time, it made me feel pretty good about myself. I'll tell this boy I do work my ass off over and over again to produce a good result, hoping to bolster Asako's reputation by providing my effectiveness as a tool. It's about time. What is going to happen to Asako? It felt like I earned a few words of praises by now, and yet.
なーにこの野郎、調子こきやがって。ちと表出ろてめえ。
Asako growled at me angrily, clutches the empty beer can in her hands, then grabbed her rifles and rose to her feet. By this point, her right eye was almost entirely useless. I was handling virtually all of the work while she enjoyed a retirement mainly occupied by drinking, eating and sleeping. When you go 3 days without firing a rifle, it takes a week to get the feel for it again. I hate to say Asako take a single shot in the last 6 months. I didn't think there was any chance she could beat me, and I honestly didn't want her to fire a gun ever again. I do take care of those jobs for her from now on. I wanted the rest of her life to be peaceful.
し、そこまで言うなら相手になってやる。勝負だ。
You sure about this? You're obviously drunk.
酔ってる時にだって敵は来るさ。この程度で撃てなくなるやつが生き残ってるわけねえだろ。
You can't use your right eyes anymore, right?
右が見えなきゃ左で見るだけのことだ。お前みたいな尻に殻くっつけたひよこ野郎相手にはちょうどいいハンデだ。
Now you're just being ridiculous. The nature of our duel was simple. Asako would drop an empty beer can into the nearby river and we let it float around for 10 minutes. After that, the first person to land a shot or river will be a winner. The roads were easy enough, but the game itself was genuinely challenging. After 10 minutes floating downstream, the can would travel far enough to be visible to the naked eyes. And this particular river followed up a complicated path through the woods, so our target would actually disappear from the view in less than a minute. The terror is such that you couldn't hope to catch up by sprinting after it. Asako and I both knew the layout of this mountain intimately. It would come down to us lying in wait, trying to land the first hit by aiming at the point where we can highly to float past. 10 minutes later, I was running through the woods carrying my favorite rifle. Back when I fed dollars a lot, I do run through this mountain every morning. It was basically my backyard. I knew plenty of the landmarks in this wood and Asako didn't. And of course, she basically retired from active duty. I was confident that I'd do it. Asako clearly wanted to make me eat my word, but I was about to just let her. I had my praise as a full-fledged agent. Today I was going to turn the tables and show my master a thing or two. In the first place, I was a little angry at Asako for underestimating me so badly. She really think that I was going to have a trouble snapping a floating can. I actually given myself this challenge a number of times back in the day on my daily walks with John, and from experience, I identified a number of ideal locations for sniping. Soon I was lying prone at one of these points, the edge of the cliff, looking down on the part of the river where it grew deeper and slower. The distance was about 800 meters. Peering to my sky, I studied the area through the lines of my reticles. Swaying treetops showed me the wind, heavier water showed me the river flow. Mentally calculating the time it would take a bullet to reach my target, I set sight on the point where I expected the can to appear. Alright, I got this. I couldn't resist a silent chuckle. I already convinced myself this was the day I finally surpassed Asako. All I had to do was wait for the can to flow into the view. In my experience, I usually have about 11 seconds to fire after spotting target from here, a bit less if rain had fallen the day before. But just as I was embracing myself, expecting the can to enter my field of vision at the moment I heard that sound. Nani? It was a mystical rifle shot, specifically the famous sound of Asako M40A1. Where did that come from? Even as the thoughts were flashing through my mind, I saw something unbelievable through my scope. Ah! The empty beer can flowed peacefully to the view, identified to my panic. I never silently apart. I had never gotten the chance to pull the trigger. All I could do was lie there and watch the poker guy sink beneath the water surface. Jumping out into my feet, I turned to look at the mountain behind me. The camera was about halfway out the mountain, another 40 meters or so over. There was a small clearing. It was the place where Asako had made a grave for John. From all the way up there, it wasn't an impossible shot to be sure. The fire distance would increase to 140 meters, but the higher elevation gave you a longer window to fire. I carelessly assumed Asako would try something like that without the use of a rifle. Right, and it cost me. Watching my knowledge was the spot where Asako was likely positioned, I looked into the scope. Sure enough, she was standing there, her white teeth gleaming with the sun. Damn it, she's laughing at me. For some reason, I found that utterly frustrating. I never really got the chance to go through a rebellious face with actual battles, so at the time I didn't recognize this feeling for what it was. I responded to Asako's condescending smile by raising my right hand and thrusting my index finger out to the air. One more round! My master's ability to go across between my square, and I saw Asako give me everything nods and hold her right arm in the circle. We proceeded to defeat the same challenge. Second time I was holding my breath to fire when the bullet zipped across my finger of vision. Started, I reflexively looked around at the area, and Asako took the opportunity to line out a shot on the can. There wasn't any rule about not interfering with the opposition's fighting. In fact, trying to locate and distract your opponent is just a common sense matter of defense on the battlefield. In the third round, Asako shot a branch off an overhang just as I was prepared to fire, she hit the cost of the can. I heard it adjusting my scope as she claimed the target a few seconds before I could. There wasn't any rule against modifying the target's path either. In the end, I challenged Asako 3 times and suffered 3 clear defeats. There wasn't much to do except one.
うぐーじゃねえんだバーカ。ちっと実践経験したぐらいでのぼせやがってんじゃねえよ。お前なんざまだまだど下手くそだってこれで分かったか。
In a precision snipe got the tail under fair and equal conditions, I was confident Asako would have beaten me. However, the battlefield was the stage where I put my skills to work and you could expect a fair duel there. Real combat was all about disrupting and deceiving your opponent.
いいかユージ。勝って兜の尾を締めよってな。よく聞くことわざだが、こいつはまさに真理だ。やれる。今日の俺は絶好調だ。そんな風に思っている時に限って、くだらないミスをする。一度ミスをすれば生きては帰れない。次はだからこそ、勝った時は考えるんだよ。なぜ今日は勝てたのか。どうすればもっと上手に勝てたのか。それが、努力と工夫ってやつだ。今日、私がやってみせたことは、私が現場で何度も試し、何度も改良を重ねて、成功し続けてきた技の一部で、いわゆる、これは極論になっちまうし、変な癖をつけちまわないように、あえてお前には教えなかったが、狙撃ってやつは、突き詰めた話、得意技を持っているやつが生き残る。たとえどんな悪条件にあっても、当てるのが当たり前。その当たり前の中でも、より得意で確実な条件に持ち込む。いや、引きずり込むって方が正しいが、不利な条件の中、わずかでも得意な条件を作り出すところから、狙撃ってのは始まってる。勝っている時こそ、乗っている時こそ、 勝つための努力を怠るな。これからの人生、お前が見て、聞いて、感じるものすべてが、お前が勝つヒントになる。
For the remnants of a drunkard, that sounds surprisingly profound.
お前な、今のお前なら理解できると思って、私は恥ずかしいのを我慢してマジ説教してやってるのに、その態度はなんだ？
I know, I'm embarrassed too by my own arrogance. Thanks, Asako. You make it very clear that I still have a long way to go.
下を見て安心するな。上を見て悩みながら生きろ。いつまでいてやれるかはわからんが、私がお前の目標でいてやるよ。
You're too cool, Asako. I fallen for you all over again. I was very lucky to have a go ahead of me on the path I chose to follow. I climbed my way out a flight of stairs, going with every step, but by the time I reached the landing, my goal had moved even higher up the staircase. It seems like I never be able to reach it, and that meant I could chase it forever. As long as I had Asako, I could keep going. On that day, my ego received a much reality check, and I realized once again exactly how huge a presence Asako was in my life. The music just stopped. Yes, it's about time. What is happened to Asako? From the very first part, the death of Kusakabe Asako, always mentioned in the number 1. Well, not exactly right now. Then it also made one other thing painfully clear. I didn't know how to flash their death to unexpected circumstances in the field. No matter how many tricks or techniques I learned, they weren't going to do me much good unless I could combine the end of Friday as the situation required. In other words, my fundamental lack of experience had come back to bite me yet again. It was an inescapable conclusion. Ever since I started living with Asako, my experience had caused me all sorts of problems. But after following her examples and joining the military, I thought I closed the gap in our practical knowledge. Of course, my crush in the field proved otherwise, and I was left more than a little ashamed by my previous arrogance. After that, the ISJB to keep me working constantly. Up until then, she'd been picking out the jobs that only I could handle, limiting the scopes of my assignments. It made things simpler, given my unusual background and numerous weaknesses. But at the end of the day, that meant I was avoiding any real challenges, sabotaging my own potential for growth. In the words of Kusakabe Asako,
ガキはガキらしく元気に生きろ。経験もなければ想像力もないガキには元気しかない。元気でなければ若者である意味もない。金やら時間やら体力やら、そんな無駄を怖がるのはジジイになってからでも十分だ。
In other words, experience or hardships that might seem pointless when you're young can actually go a long way towards determining your breadth as a person 10 years down the line. It wasn't so different from what Kazuki used to say, live your life like imagining the person you will be 10 years from now. I know that I agree with Asako's word, but it'd probably be another decade before I really understood them. In any case, after that day, I asked Jamie to do something any job I can possibly handle as opposed to the job only I can do. I told her I'd do anything, even dog walking or babysitting. She took this more literally than I expected. Of course, my babysitting stint was exactly your typical part-time job. After the leaders of the Colombian drug smuggling organization were exposed, its accountants was arrested and offered a plea bargain in exchange for testimony, and he accepted on the condition that his family's safety would be guaranteed. What's more, the man insisted he didn't want to worry his wife and child. They could possibly be placed in protective custody and had to be guarded without their knowledge. Given the circumstances, 8 agents were selected to monitor and protect the family in their current home. As part of that team, I infiltrated the accountant's home in the roles of a new employee at the company where he worked, and was tasked mainly with looking after his young daughter. I took my place as a bodyguard easily enough, but the girl in question turned out to be a shockingly nasty little brat. Basically, the kid was just full of herself. She demanded preferential treatment for everyone at all times, and she fully expected that anything she wanted would instantly become hers. The worst part was, she didn't even realize how selfish she was, being her only child status probably had something to do with that. I do have preferred to lock her out in the room, but unfortunately there wasn't an option. All too often I found myself accompanying the little lady on her shopping expedition as a bad boy of sorts. The instant we entered one of her favorite stores, the 90-year-old princess would be pointing her finger at one time and then demanding this one and this one until I was ready to snap. As the tree wore on, I was trudging along behind her carrying countless bags, almost wishing for some kind of trouble to arise as I had an excuse to throw it all aside. But the little lady abruptly stopped, turned around and said, "You there, my bootlegs are since they're undone." She didn't even bother to add, "Would you please?" Of course, from this little lady's point of view, it was only natural that I helped. It wasn't clear how exactly she expected me to do that, given that my both hands were full. As I stood there trying to decide how to proceed, she shrugged her head and said, "You Japanese really are very considerate, are you?" That was the last straw. Not long after, I found myself whining to JB over the phone. I had it, I used all the last of my patience to the earth to shout, I'll tie you all the issues back. I can't take this anymore, I'm begging you to put someone else in for me.
なーに？もうギブアップなの？何でもいいから仕事くれって言い出したのはあなたよ。それに、女の子は得意でしょ？
She's a child, not a woman. And more importantly, I am legit to people who desire their special and don't even try to put themselves in anyone else's shoes.
世の中なんてそういう人間ばっかりよ。何のための経験なの？朝子の言葉を思い出しなさい。忍耐、努力、工夫。この3つで乗り切れない問題なんてめったにないわ。
Oh yeah, but I'm seriously at my wit's end here. I just don't know how to deal with children.
あなたを引き取った直後の朝子も同じようなことで悩んでよく私に電話してきたわ。あなたが朝子にしてもらって嬉しかったことをその子にもしてあげればいいのよ。
Huh, you're telling me to strike her naked and wash her in the bath?
電話じゃなかったら殴ってるわよ。そういう冗談はやめなさい。
Oh yeah, I get it.
何よ。
I don't know how to deal with her because I'm thinking of her as a child. All I have to do is pretend that she's a slightly undersized lady, right? She's already bought herself a clothes and a bag, so the next step will be a sappy movie. Then me and a nice Italian place. I started to get a picture. When she starts tearing out doing the cheesy romantic and you guys over and ask, are you crying? She's denying indignantly. Pretty cute. When you get to the restaurant, tease her for being a sloppy eater and wipe her cheek with your napkin. Then that sounds like, but I guess that's part of your charm. Watching her face grow red, cute, right? Once you got her through a few and her dinner, she inevitably starts complaining about her job. Listen quietly, if you disagree, don't say so. Just not make sympathetic noises every once in a while and just wait for her to state the conclusion she's already reached well in advance. Once it finally come out, offer a big objective advice. All you need to do is to give her a little hint. Maybe you could approach it this way instead. After that, stubbornness will melt right away, leaving her surprisingly sweet and grateful. See, she really is cute. In other words, it's the same as we do.
何だよ。なんか勝手に一人で納得しないでよ。
Sorry, I figured out how to approach this. That's all. Thanks, Julia. You're always there for me when I need you. I really am grateful.
あ、うん。なんか、まあいいけど。
Mind if I call you out again if I run into any more trouble?
いいわよ。そのための担当官なんだから。
When I finish out this job, I'll bring a souvenir back to Japan for you. Talk to you later.
気をつけてね。幸運を。
Even though I'm out of shaggy-headed woman can be sweet and adorable if you adjust your attitude appropriately. I already mastered that particular skill. Thinking of a girl I was protecting as a mini JV made the whole process almost trivial easy. It was as simple as changing my own mindset. Of course, a romance movie wouldn't be appropriate for her 90-year-old and buy her dinner, getting a bit tipsy and then listen to her complain about school exactly impossible either. Instead, I could just follow Asako and take her to the nearest zoo. Afterward, we could start to eat at one of the nice kid-friendly restaurants in town, and the one point a casual question like, it's good fun, should get her to open up a bit. My sorry because it also was nothing but the occasional I see that's amazing or it's not your fault. At the very end, I just had sympathetic and give some back in my side. Why don't you start by trying to resolve their misunderstanding? This would definitely work on the JB, but this will apply for a mini JB species as well. Company tricks as the situation dictates. You find your way to correct the answer. To the correct answer, sometimes you force your way there. When you have disadvantage, you flip it into the advantage. That's probably what it means to be flexible. Knowledge and experience you gain in one field can be often applied creatively in many others. When you feel something you are bad through the lens of something you're good at, even problems that seem impossible sometimes melt away easily. I almost gave up online entirely once. Now that I was starting to think of I might get the hang of it, but before I could really suffer that feeling, I set the poker alright. Jamie, huh? Hey Jamie, nice to meet you. Do you want a penguin or polar bear for your souvenir?
そんなこと言ってる場合じゃないわよ。急いで日本に戻ってきて、できるだけ早く。
Something happened to Asako? What happened?
朝子が倒れた。もう長くない。急いで。
Alright. Clouds always follow the sunshine. The times when you think everything's going well are when you are in the greatest danger. The moment you let your guard down, the devil's hand reaches out for you. The moment I got that phone call, my mind went absolutely blank. I couldn't immediately process the things JB was telling me, and I don't remember exactly how it replied either. I gotta get back. There was nothing else in my mind. I had to get back as soon as I possibly could. That single thought swirled through my mind. Asako collapsed. There isn't much time. What was that supposed to mean? Oh, her time has come. I don't even remember the way I got back to Japan after receiving that phone call from Jamie. I know I kept myself clutched tightly in my hands the whole way. When I finally looked out at her, I was still staring at my face. I found sight in Japan around, but the meaning of the character didn't resist. It almost felt I was dreaming. Don't panic, it won't do anyone. You need to calm down. I glanced at my watch, but I couldn't relate the number on his face. I couldn't bring myself to carry the what did the time matters. Realized that I could barely feel my feet touching the ground. I rather stopped walking and looked down at the screen of my cell phone, which I had been holding for God knows how long. The notification light was flashing. I received 3 emails, all of them from Jamie. The first was a simple summary of what had happened to Asako and the location of the hospital where she been admitted with a street map attached. The second contained a timetable showing the quickest way for me to return to Japan along with the simple certificate that granted me emergency permission to utilize military transport. The third message said that Asako had been discharged from the hospital at her own insistence and explained that her physical condition remained highly unstable. In other words, I need to head back to Yamanashi. Relentlessly, the meaning of the words on my screen sank home. Looking out for myself, I glanced around and hailed out a nearby taxi and then gave the driver the name of the mountain where Asako came in school. I was aware Asako entered the reserve permanent because of her poor hair, and I know her illness was kind of the vein thrombosis. Wow! Vein thrombosis. The original cause was a capillary rupture she suffered in her youth when hit by a shot of a large caliber gun. Its after effects had grown progressively worse over the years. Looking back now, there were more than a few warning signs. In the middle of cooking, sometimes her hands would go down and she dropped a knife to the floor. Sometimes she looked me right in the face but struggled to remember my name for the moment. Her right eye slowly lost its vision until eventually couldn't tell even out this own light. Once or twice she broke down sobbing after a few drinks and I had to carry her to bed. In retrospect, all that was probably related to the blood clots that was forming near her brain.
今まで散々いじめてきた体だからな。今さらいたわったところでどうにもならん。
Watching Asako tried to put a brave face on, I told myself that it was my turn to protect her. I assumed that vein thrombosis was a curable condition. Oh, of course, she'll be going to the doctor and receiving periodic treatment. And ordinary cases of thrombosis might be very well handled clear up. The boosted drugs she'll be using eventually for many years probably had something to do with the way things turned out. Her blood vessels were already fragile and the thrombosis had caused multiple chronic inflammations. There wasn't much the doctor could do.
Yuuji.
Sorry I'm late. How's Asako doing?
昨日からずっと寝たり起きたりの繰り返し。起きていられる時間がどんどん短くなってきてる。
I see. This camera had been our den for a long time. Over the years, Asako and I had integrated with our sense. Whenever I returned, she'd been waiting here to welcome me back with a smile, but now the place is all empty and cool. In the same area where we slept in each other's arms, Asako was lying, her eyes shut, silent and alone. I'm home, Asako. Sorry if it took so long. Twitching in response to my voice, Asako slowly woke from her slumber. She stared at me barely, holding her eyes open and tested her heart and without a word. I sadly took it with mine, following her example. Asako was much colder than I imagined it would be. It didn't belong to the woman I know. This hand had wrapped itself around mine when I was younger, but it felt very small now.
おかえり、ユージ。
Asako's voice was slightly raspy. The sounds of it filled my chest with an inexpressible sadness. The woman I know didn't have such a weak voice. She was a force of nature, a human tornado, a superwoman. Hey Asako, are you going to die?
あ
There's nothing they can do.
あ、何年も前からこうなることは分かってたんだ。
I can't do anything.
お前にはお前のやるべきことがあるだろ。
Who cares about that crap? What you going to decide the meaning of my life for me?
すまんな、ユージ。生き方を教えてやるなんて大それたことを口にしておきながら、結局は日の当たらない仕事の手腕を仕込むだけで精一杯だった。
What are you saying? I'm still just a stupid kid, not good at anything I try. Didn't you tell me I got the hell out a long way to go? Don't go dying on me now, damn it.
お前は相変わらず泣き虫だな。男は簡単に泣くなって教えただろ。
Shut up. Someone I love just told me she's dying, so let me cry if I want to. Someone I love just told me she was dying.
いいか、ユージ。人間ってのはな、死ぬために生まれてくるんだ。形のあるものはいつか壊れて、生きてるものはいつか必ず死ぬ。生まれてきた意味なんてのは死ぬ時に初めてわかるもんだ。今まで散々お前に偉そうなことを言ってきた私だけどな。私だって生きる意味なんて分かっちゃいなかったし、いつ死んでもおかしくない生き方をしてきた。それでも今はなんとなくだけどわかる気がする。軍人として生きてきた私には軍人らしい最後が必要で、軍人は自分のやるべきことをやってから死ぬ。仕方のないことだと言い訳をしては何人も敵を殺して何人もの仲間を助けた。おまけにユージ、お前を死なせずに済んだんだ。私はもう十分に生きた。
Don't be so damn
そうだ
irresponsible.
ろ。
No. Don't be so damn irresponsible. I'm only here because you saved me and now you want to leave me on my own. Listen, Asako, if you can't pull the trigger anymore, I will do it for you. I'll do anything for you, alright? You're the only thing I had left. What am I supposed to do with my life if you gone? My whole life was one betrayal after another, but at the end I decided to trust you, to live for you. You are my goal, the one thing that kept me going. You can't just disappear on me.
もういいんだ。もうお前は自分のために生きてもいいんだ。今のお前なら何だってできる。失敗したって何度でも立ち上がれる。私はお前をそういう男に育てたつもりだ。
You don't understand. I could do anything because I had you. I could do anything. I knew I had a home waiting for me. That's why I never give up no matter how bad things got. And now, what am I supposed to do now? Please, Asako. Am I just going to stand here and lose someone else I love? What's the point of your future without you anyway?
これからの人生でそれを見つけりゃいいんだよ。もっとあがけ。人生なんてもっとジタバタしていいんだ。楽に生きようとするな。
Anything else? No, right? You're the one to talk. Don't just give up anyway. Makes your lectures a lot less convincing.
お前と一緒にするな。私はな、死ぬことを許されたんだよ。軍人ってやつはな、出撃した初日にぽっくりと落ちんじまうやつもいれば、どんなに過酷な戦場に放り込まれてもしぶとく生きて戻るやつもいる。その二つの違いはな、お前はもういい、よく頑張ったと死を許されるやつ。そして お前にはまだやることが残っている。と、死を許してもらえない奴の違いだ。私は、許されたんだよ。わかるか？ユージ。
What the hell that's supposed to mean? Who gave you permission? God.
さあな。多分、そうなんじゃねえか？
That old asshole gave me his address and social security number. I'll blow his brain out from 2,000 meters.
バカだな、お前は。あんまり笑わせるなよ。ユージ、今何時だ？
4:13 in the afternoon.
そっか。今日は星が綺麗だな。
Yeah, they're beautiful.
お前が私のところに来てしばらく経ったある日、お前は夜中にベッドを抜け出して、こんな夜、あの時お前何を考えてたんだ？
I don't remember.
だろうな。そう言うと思ってたよ。少し疲れたな。もう寝てもいいか？
Yeah, sleep, Asako. And she's dead. I guess. I watched as Asako fell quietly and peacefully to sleep. In the end, she never woke up again. Strangely enough, I didn't cry. All I could feel was a dazed awareness of the cold, gaping hole in my heart. JB couldn't find much to say to me, but she quietly took care of Asako's body. There was no funeral. After all, anyone who got to Asako's funeral was probably going to end at exactly the same place as her sooner or later. By the time my master's body was cremated, I managed to regain at least a little presence of mind. When JB came back from the crematory and told me that all 90 bullets had emerged from the remains, I even managed to crack a smile, typical Asako. Still, I didn't feel much of anything. On some level, I didn't really believe that Asako was never coming back to this cabin. All I had to do was to close my eyes and I could see her again swing over into the bedroom with a yarn her hair unkept, stretching her beak behind, poking her head into the fridge to find a beer. And the images were so vivid I could almost convince myself they were real. I saw these ghostly traces of Asako constantly and so I had to keep reminding myself that she was gone over and over again. Where do people go when they die anyway? If I die as well, would I end up in the same place as Asako? I do go to the station where I wait for my mother and board the train in the beautiful sunset. Simple as that, I take the train to wherever Asako was. All the people I love were probably there, waiting for my arrival. But I couldn't go to them, not yet. I didn't have permission to die yet. Asako had left me something to do. Until I saved the lives of 5 people, I wasn't allowed to die. Oh, and that's why. It was the only chance I had left to do some kind of... It was the only chance I had left to find some kind of meaning in my survival. Still, someday, in the rain cloud of the Somerset, I bought that train. I no longer had anything left to live for, but I still had something left to do. Tell me something, Asako. Did you dump that job on me knowing you didn't have long to live? Did you deliberately leave me a nasty piece of homework so I wouldn't try to follow you? You're an idiot, you know that. I'm not the quitter you think I am, not anymore. I'll try struggling with life for a while, just like you say. But right now I'm kind of tired, I don't want to move for a while. Let me lie here. Like this, just a little longer. Ouch! And the episode, it's been long already. I don't know how much long it is. Oh, it's still 15. Adios, famosa.